संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय Ramakrishnaaya te namaha. To the one who came to establish spirituality, one who is the personification of all faiths and religions, one who is the foremost embodiment of the divine, to that Ramakrishna I offer my salutations.
Yeah, we would like to introduce our guest, Swami. He's an assistant minister from the Vedanta Society of St. Louis. He joined the order in 2001 at a very prestigious center, a huge residential school called Vidyapith, the center of learning. That's in central India. After his training in Belur Math, he spent about 10 years in Jairambati, that's Holy Mother's birthplace, where he performed ritualistic worship and wrote journal articles. As he was also mentioning, he has performed the elaborate Durga Puja 7 times. Or is it 8 times? Yeah. Oh, that's a huge accomplishment. In 2017, he was transferred to Udbodhan, that is Mother's Calcutta residence. And he worked in editing and publishing Vedanta books. He also became the editor of the Bengali journal Udbodhan, which is, of course, was started by Swami Vivekananda and Trigunatitananda, a host of great Swamis who worked on that. He came to the United States in April 2022. So here we are. He will be continuing the class on Mathur, Nath, Biswas, part 2. Go ahead.
Thank you, Maharaj. And namaskars to all. So today we'll discuss or meditate, contemplate on the life of Sri Ramakrishna, and he is one of the greatest devotees, Mathur, Nath, Biswas. So, who are a little bit interested in research work. So for them, one thing I want to mention, you know that this Sri Ramakrishna's life, divine life, was mainly the plot of the drama, divine drama, was happened mostly in West Bengal, the eastern part of India. And the name Mathuranath Biswas, in Bengali actually, we call him Mathuranath Biswas, or sometimes we have 2 opinions on that, or Mathura Mohan Biswas. Just for that I want to mention. And Mathuranath Biswas, actually in Indian subcontinent, we keep generally our parents in ancient days particularly used to give on the name or epithets on God's name or the name of goddesses. So that when they call their children, automatically it came to their mind the name of God. Like maybe Ramakrishna, when they kept that name, simultaneously two names of Hindu god, Ram and Krishna may come. Or Ramakumar, the elder brother of Ramakrishna, the name of Rama may come. Or maybe another name of one of the sisters, Katyayani. So Katyayani is name of a goddess. So Mathura Nath actually means Mathura is a place of pilgrimage related to the life of Krishna. So Mathura Nath literally means the Nath of Mathura, the Lord of Mathura. So like that, if you say Ayodhya Nath, it means Ramachandra, because the capital of the kingdom that Rama ruled, it was Ayodhya. The king of Ayodhya or Lord of Ayodhya means they wanted to refer Rama. So if you go to India, so if you find same kind of name, that some Natha means Lord, or another name, maybe if you say like Sita Natha, the Lord, or here the husband or Swami or husband of Sita, it means Rama. So this connection, if you understand, so it will put a more light on the biography or the information that you get from this biography. So, but I found in English somehow it came Mathur Nath Biswas, because I think without, it's a big name, calling like, oh Mathur Nath, please come. So it is abbreviated part, it came Mathur, from Mathura Nath to Mathur. Like here also, it sometimes it happened. So, like it's big name William, you call maybe Will. So same kind of thing. Mathura Nath, they called Mathur. So in English biography, it came Mathur Nath Biswas. But for accuracy, I think, in my opinion, it should be Mathura Nath Biswas. So this is the first part of the biography. That is my opinion only. So there are many opinions on that. You know, on historical, on this thing, they have different ideas. So as you heard, that it is the second part from the biography of Mathur Nath Biswas. So let us read from the biography, and I will discuss whatever it comes in my mind. So soon after Rani Rasmani, so how many you are the first time listening to this talk? Just first time? Two. Okay, I will try to connect with the previous class. So it was, I am going to talk, I am talking about 1861. So let us keep in mind that their age. Mathur Nath or Mathur Nath, he was he born around 1817. Okay, 1817. So Sri Ramakrishna born 1836. So now we are talking about when Mathura Nath was 1861. It means Mathura Nath must be around, and Sri Ramakrishna is almost 20 years younger than Mathura Nath. So Sri Ramakrishna in 1861, 36 to 61, around 24 or 25 years old, Sri Ramakrishna. It is good to keep in mind, because if I do not know, today I will can read that part or not. So he was around 24 and 25. And Mathura Nath, so just 19 years old or 20 years old, was approximate, must be around 45 or 44. So Rani Rasmani, the mother-in-law actually, for the who are listening the first time. So she was the actually the zamindar or landlord or a wealthy woman of Calcutta, then the capital of West Bengal. Then actually we used to call Bengal, not West Bengal, because after partition of India in 1947, the Bengal was divided into two parts. East Bengal, now it came as a Bangladesh, and West Bengal remained in India. So Calcutta is the capital of West Bengal still now. So soon after Rani Rasmani passed away in 1861, the Bhairavi Brahmani, a woman teacher of Tantra, came to Dakshineshwar. She quickly recognized the spiritual condition of Sri Ramakrishna and declared him to be an avatar. Avatar means incarnation of God. Now in dictionary we have movies also on avatar. So actually avatar means it is a Sanskrit term. So avataran we called, who descended from the heaven or from the kingdom of heaven, from somewhere else. From that it came the term avatar. Avataran, from avataran the word it come avatar. So it means incarnation of God. So according to that Hindu belief, so when it is necessary that God takes a human form and to save, came as a savior of the humanity. So that is the idea of avatar. Mathur protested and quoted the scriptures which said there could be no more than 10 avatars. But the Brahmani replied that the Bhagavata had mentioned 24 avatars, and it had also left room for countless others. So Mathur was educated in modern education. So what you are talking about? So in our college and all those things, there is no mention of avatars. Okay, as my background is from a Hindu family, so from my family I heard something avatar. But my grandpas, grandmas all talked about 10 avatars. So where from you came here and saying that Sri Ramakrishna is an avatar? So Bhagavata, a major scripture of Hindu tradition, mainly you find the description of Krishna's life mainly. I perhaps many of you who have some idea about that Hindu ideas, the 10 avatars like Kurma, Varaha, etc. going on. So, but so what are you talking about? Ramakrishna, modern avatar. What is that? But Bhairavi Brahmani, he was expert in this scriptural knowledge. He was a great sadhika, a ascetic, at the same time a scholar also. Then he quoted, oh, Shiv Bhagavata. In your scripture it is said that avatara, the quotation actually is avatara hi asankhya. So avatara, number of avatar may be asankha. Asankha means innumerable, countless avatara may come. So I am quoting from scripture also only. But for clarification, I can why it came the idea of 10 avatars, because it is a great Sanskrit poet named Jayadev. He wrote a hymn on 10 avatars. So that's from that you find a description of 10 avatars. Rama, Krishna, Balarama, not Krishna actually, Balaram. According to Vaishnava tradition, they count Balarama as the avatar in tradition. So from there it came the idea of 10 avatar. But in scripture it is said, avatara hi asankhya. The many avatars may come in future, because it is not end of humanity. In future, when they are in need. So, and in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutthana adharma, etc. It said whenever that you feel the declination of the dharma, of spirituality in the world, I will come. So there is contradiction. Your 10 number is 10 fixed. And at the same time Gita said, I will come again and again. So it contradicts with it. So thus he made it understand to Mathur that avatara may come again and again. So then what happened? Mathur could not argue further with the Brahmani because he was well versed in the scriptures. Then the Bhairavi Brahmani asked Mathur to convene a conference of scholars with whom she would hold a debate to establish her view that Sri Ramakrishna was an avatar. Torn between faith and doubt, Mathur was thoroughly confused. However, he agreed to invite the scholars to settle the matter and to satisfy his own curiosity. Okay, Bhairavi Brahmani, okay, I want to call all the renowned scholars of the city, like I will mention their name. So you call them. I am ready to debate with them. So if they have some argument against that, they can put against before me, and I will just make them understand that what I am saying, it is not about faith. I have scriptural support also. I have a support from the scriptures. So it was decided to invite Vaishnavacharan and Pandit Gauri to take part in the debate. Vaishnavacharan was a famous spiritual leader and scholar of the Vaishnava sect. Gauri was a scholar of Tantra and a man of remarkable occult powers. Since Gauri could not come to Dakshineshwar immediately, the Brahmani first presented her case to Vaishnavacharan and a few other scholars. She elaborately described the master's spiritual experiences and then verified them by quoting the scriptures and by comparing his experiences with those of other illumined souls. Vaishnavacharan heartily subscribed to all of the Brahmani's conclusions, and furthermore he declared from his own understanding that Mahabhava, a technical term, Mahabhava, that means supreme devotion, was fully manifest in Sri Ramakrishna. So I can a little bit discuss on that and Mahabhava. In traditional Vaishnava way, because Vaishnavacharan is a Vaishnava scholar, so she wanted to convince quoting the Vaishnava tradition, all those things. So he told, you see, this Mahabhava, some symptoms, when that kind of spiritual experience you feel rise inside you, some outer expression, symptoms will come. So those symptoms we can see in Sri Ramakrishna also. If you read the divine play of Sri Ramakrishna, you'll find the detail of those kind of things. So it was said that we have seen this special kind of symptoms, the characteristic in the life of Srimati Radharani of Vrindavan, the divine consort of Sri Krishna, and the great Vaishnava sadhakas, the ascetics like Rupa Goswami. So we can, in this modern age, the same symptoms we can see in Sri Ramakrishna. So she vividly described all those things, and Vaishnavacharan also saw, just it was happening before him. And if you read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna afterwards, we are talking about 1861. Sri Ramakrishna was 25 years old. So Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you can get the description from 1881, like that. So after 20 years, so you will find now and then the name of Vaishnavacharan. So it means Vaishnavacharan also became an ardent follower of Sri Ramakrishna after that. Okay. This verdict made the Brahmani jubilant and created a sensation among the people. Mathur was dumbfounded, but Sri Ramakrishna took it calmly. Like a boy, he said to Mathur, "So he really thinks that? Well, anyway, I am glad it's not a disease." A childlike simplicity. Okay, we'll find all those things. When Swami Vivekananda came in this country, it happened like that. Because contemporary people hardly understand. It takes a time. In Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you can find the same thing. Jesus, life of Jesus. only a few followers. So it took centuries to understand who Jesus was. And about Buddha, it took centuries who Buddha was. So to understand, like sometimes it happens for mountain also. Today I was coming from that side. I do not know what the name of the mountain. I was crossing that this river, Columbia River. What is the name of the river? Your famous river, this one. Huh?
Lake, probably.
Lake. Oh, lake maybe. Okay. So from the mountain, if you stand in front of it, you cannot. Sometimes you don't understand. But from distance, after maybe 30 miles, if you go far from the mountain, you can see a majestic view. So time is necessary to understand. So Sister Nivedita wrote about Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. It will take centuries to understand fully Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. So, so it is very that time is needed actually for to explain, because you have to they change the thought current of the humanity. How you can understand? You can if you read the literature look and questions around that 18th century, you will find the question changed now in 21st century. The simple thing they were fighting to just they were trying to understand a simple kind of thing, but now it is easily understandable. Who made it understandable? Hardly people sometimes when from this country monks. I came here only last year, so I found many monks who was visiting India. Sometimes we ask the monks or devotees from India, what do you think about the Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement? So they always say that sometimes people hardly mention the name of Vivekananda or Ramakrishna. But without mentioning that name, they are spreading the same idea. So, and about Swami Vivekananda also, he told that who cares for name? You know that real people, they want only the that they think about humanity, not the name. What you do in those days in ancient India, they wrote these sages of India, we call rishi, the seers. They wrote hymns after hymns, revelations after revelation, and only we are the modern people. We made copyright, simple drawing. We made our sign. I made it. I draw it. And the poem I wrote it. Simple. This thought, it is my copyright. But we are narrow-minded. That's why we want to our name. That it is different kind of accumulation. Accumulation. So this belongs to me. Sometimes that day, a few days back, I was visiting our retreat in Arlington. So that the Swami, the monk who is looking after that property, he took me in some interior part of the property. So it was dense, some kind of little jungle, little forest, dense. So as we entered there, I found a owl. Perhaps there was her nest. She flew from this tree to that tree, a big tree. Real big tree, and so that, and as if that Swami is saying, she is not happy, because in that nest maybe that little that birds are there waiting for their mom. So I was thinking, only we human being, we put the boundary. It is my property, your property. But for the owl or for the bird, they do not care about that property. So it's about human understanding. So for them it is not my property, your property. It is my nest. So for us also, when we come from India to US, we found we human beings put the boundaries. This much is we call India. This is Europe. This is US. But you go to space. So or that. So who drew that lines? So who cares your line? They lived in eternity. These humans, Buddha lived in eternity. Ramakrishna, Krishna, they lived in eternity. Who cares? And so there's a beautiful Bengali song also. Amar je sob dite hobe sei to ami jani. I only know I have to give away everything. So that I know. Because when you feel you have a glass of water here, so you are afraid to give water to others. But once you understand there's ocean behind you, so do not care about one glass giving away water. So the awareness of connection with that eternity, this is called spiritual life, nothing else. So, okay, so Sri Ramakrishna, so it is natural who lives in eternity, their expression will be different from who live in limitations. So Sri Ramakrishna's expression was unique. Okay, so he really thinks that, well, anyway, I am glad it is not a disease. It was his expression. A few days later, Pandit Gauri came to Dakshineshwar, another scholar, and announced and entered the Kali temple, loudly repeating a mantra. This was one of his occult powers which made him invincible in debate. So Maharaj already wrote here, he helped me, that is Sanskrit term. It is Ha Re 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 Niralambo Lambo Dara Kang Yami Jananim Sharanam. Sorry, Ha Re 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 Niralambo Lambo Dara Janani Kang Yami Sharanam. It's Sanskrit term. That, oh mother, the Janani, the mother of Lambodara. So to who we should seek refuge. Lambodara means another name of Ganesha. The mother of Ganesha means divine mother. Oh divine mother, I want your refuge, that kind of thing. So uttering that mantra, I think he got some occult power. In those days, in India, we have a different kind of environment. Swami Ranganathananda, one of our presidents, now he just passed away in 2005. He was a great scholar and great monk. You can find his name in YouTube. We are so unfortunate that in those days when Maharaj spoke, that Swami spoke, there was no internet and all those things. A few devotees, they put those video, those things, they uploaded. But it is very few. But from his voice, you can understand. It is coming from realization. You can understand. So you can search Swami Ranganathananda. So anyhow, he once wrote, or I read it in a book. So he spoke anywhere. Maybe afterwards that lecture was written or compiled in a book. Maybe he in those time, in Indian tradition, if you want to understand really, you have to understand the sociology also of Indian subcontinent. Otherwise, from the later you cannot understand, because there is a culture difference. So the background you have to check first, why they are saying like that. So anyhow, it was like that. If you want to start your own that sect or sampradaya, you have to argue with the other scholars. So if you win that debate, so that other team or other person have to, okay, I agree with you, and I will become one of your followers. So if you read the life of Shankaracharya or Chaitanya Deva, another great saint scholar, and to some many of us, we worship him as another incarnation of God. 15th century. Anyhow, if you read, you find the scholars are coming all over the India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from northern part, southern part, and they used to debate. And the debate was used to be very fine arguments. So but he noticed it. It was that kind of environment, but never using any force. Like just using, that military power, nothing. In the discussion table, so he felt very sorry that Swami, if in this world, in modern world also, just in discussion table, the solution, we get the solution, there would be unnecessary many life maybe saved. So if you can do that kind of in mental level, just use your brain, argument, and accept. If you've done any fault, just accept it. So anyhow, in that kind of debate, Gauri Pandit had a occult power. What is occult? If you utter that mantra aloud, so it is said that, it is taken as a story also, if you do not agree with that, the fact that the opponent will be easily defeated. Somehow he will feel that less power. So with that, uttering that mantra at the beginning of the debate, so it is said that he is already win the half of the battle. So when he came here to debate with in Dakshineshwar, he started shouting the mantra. So what happened? It is a funny story. But Sri Ramakrishna, without knowing about this power, began shouting the mantra louder than Gauri. After if you see that the films, there are films also. And in film, it is films. Sometimes it is very different from real fact. They wanted to make it more spicy. so if you I am very particular about it. When I see a film about Christ or here Saint Patrick or somebody, I always say it is something different from real. So because I know about Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, I read all those books, the authentic books. But what I see in documentaries or films is something different. Because they want that a full audience. So anyhow, so it happened. So after a few began shouting the mantra louder than Gauri. After a few exchanges, each one louder than the last, Sri Ramakrishna won the shouting match and absorbed Gauri's occult power. Gauri then realized Sri Ramakrishna's greatness. Later, when he heard that Vaishnavacharan had declared the master to be an incarnation of God, he said, I consider that to be an understatement, what you have seen, that Vaishnavacharan had said. I believe that you are he by a fraction of whose power the avatars come forth and accomplish their mission. The utterance of Gauri Pandit. So, from that, because Gauri knew it is only a power to defeat people. So, and if you a regular reader of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, I should mention regular reader. So, if you read even Bible also, we have same idea, or Gospel of Buddha, or Gospel of Sri, whatever you like. You have to read regularly. Because I knew little more about Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna than other literature. It is, I heard from our senior monks, and it's my feeling also. For last 20 years, more than 20 years, I inspired by the senior monks, I tried to make it a regular habit. So I think in 20 years back, when I started for 20 more than 25 years, so I am getting more light from the same words. So it happens because it is about your belief also something. If you think that it is a God's word, gospel means it is God's word. It is not a human being word. So if God is eternal, so ideas beneath his that upper surface, it is just, these books are upper surfaces. They're fathomless, their depth. So when you study regularly, the need new light to come. I remember I may be wrong to quote the, I think Japal Santre maybe. So when I was in training center, there was a professor of Western philosophy from a college. He used to come, and he used to give lectures on the philosophies. So I liked that. That his expression, and he used to say that practice reveals meaning. He made a comment. What important comment it is. Practice reveals meanings. So he gave us the example. Well, see, Maharaj, in India they call us Maharaj, a Swami, the common term of a monk or brahmachari. In general they call Maharaj. So when I first entered the Belur Math campus, it is a big campus, and the first day I did not know about the buildings, for what it's standing for. So like this building, oh okay, a two-story building, this building, three-story building, what is that? But when I started coming again and again, so one by one I understood, oh, this building is meant for the office. This building is a place of worship. This building is for cooking. This building is a dining hall. And this building is where brahmacharis sleep. So I just kept coming. So sometimes I remember one of our monk who is at the same time he is a good musician also, a good vocalist, and used to play drums, our Indian type of pakhwaj, mridangam, that kind of. So I remember one day he was talking about, just 5 or 6 years senior than us. So he was taking, you see, when you start play with pakhwaj, some kind of drum, so one time will come, the pakhwaj will say, play me like this. You feel a friendship with that. So this is subtle. This is a subtle kind of ideas, but it happens when you are doing for many days. And about Holy Mother Sarada Devi, what nicely she spoke about that. The divine, you might have heard about Sri Sharada Devi, the divine consort of Sri Ramakrishna. So her life was practical. We are talking about philosophy. Her life was the practical example of how to put all those theories in life. This is theory and her life is application. So living in the world, how to apply this. So anyhow, she used to say, in Indian puja, worship, you need some kind of fragrance. For that, we have sandal paste. So sandalwood, you have to rub against a stone again and again, putting little water. So when you start rubbing that wood against that stone, slowly some kind of paste will start to come out from that wood, and you will started feeling the fragrance also. So he used to say, this Bhagavat Tattva, this idea that about this the thoughts about God, thoughts about this higher dimension of life, it will come again when you start rubbing. You have to practice. So what we do in general in India or here, we stop doing that. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, then we stop. We want new kind of excitement daily. But in spiritual life, you need that consistency. You have to again just, and as Sri Ramakrishna used to give beautiful example, or in I think in every literature, because these great souls are belongs to any particular sect or dharma. I think in every religion, in every country, you will find this kind of people. So he used to, that if you want to dig a well, in this country, to find out the water from under the ground, you have to dig. So if you for 4 days you start digging here, again next 5 days there, so you can never get the water. So you have to first have a survey. See, use your brain, use your common sense. So where and there is a in a real spiritual person, you will find this, that he or she that open-mindedness, because God is that idea of a God, if you think about it, he's pervaded everywhere. So that vastness, that openness, that boundless love, this kind of and boundless peace, this is the one of the major sign of a true spiritual person, or whether you are proceeding towards that real spirituality or not. So again, Swami Ranganathananda used to say that the sure sign of spirituality. Here you will feel some kind of intense peace. Intense peace. And when you work in your office or you're traveling here or there, you will radiate that peace. People will feel like if a fire, if you cover it with a metallic something, at some point that metallic cover will be heated. So spirituality is as true or more true than fire. Or maybe more true than snow. If you cover with it, that cover will become cold. If you put in this kind of shelf a huge piece of that snow or that ice, you will understand the whole. If you the turn of that AC, you will find slowly it will become a cooler place, this room. So it is understandable. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I think after that it will start a new context. So let us check whether we have some question or not from our online audiences.
You, in the meantime, you all can put questions to him.
Yeah. Oh, we got a big question. Big question means you mentioned that Sri Ramakrishna lived in eternity. Could you explain a little more what that means? It will take another 40 minutes.
You said it, now you explain it. I can start, then you can pick it up.
Yeah, okay, Maharaj.
Less than eternity.
Yeah.
Lived in eternity.
It is, he has transcended time and space. There was one incident in New York. Swami Vivekananda was being hurried to catch the steamer leaving for Europe. And so the devotee is saying, Swami, hurry up, or the ship will just sail away. So he, with his lordly style walking, he said, well, madam, you live in time, I live in eternity. At one stage of very deep meditations, when you transcend your own mind, your mind is within the realm and the meshes of time and space. You transcend it. And can you transcend the mind and yet live? Yes, you exist in consciousness. So that is eternity. And most of these great souls, they used to dwell in that consciousness. That's why they say eternity. Yes, Sri Ramakrishna was in this eternal.
Yeah. And in our practical daily life also, we can give a hint kind of thing. When you think you are a limited being, so that anxiety, irritation, this kind of thing comes in our life. Immediately when you are connected with a bigger source, when you will feel more peace inside you. So I can just and that moment I think we have give some examples, a little example. When you think you have only a glass of water, you are afraid to give it away because you know after the glass I don't have a water. Because if you know I have an ocean inside me, you overcome that fear, that anxiety, and you will be a real benefactor of the humanity. So now we have to apply these ideas.
Take the next question.
So I think now
No question.
I think no questions. Just
You can.
they say thanks and pranams.
You can.
So
You can ask.
If anything you have.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I'm curious about the woman pandit who wanted to verify Sri Ramakrishna's authenticity and who was willing to debate these two other. But I don't know anything about her. It was a woman?
Yeah,
I gathered from the last
Yeah.
lecture.
Yes.
And she was an adept in tantra.
Yes.
Yeah. Not only tantra
You
even.
have to repeat the question for the online audience.
Okay.
So I'll start and then you say. So the question was, question
Can I know
is,
more
can you know more about this great woman who was called a Bhairavi Brahmani, and who was competent enough to debate the best scholars there. Yes, and to establish Sri Ramakrishna's experiences, which were sanctioned by the scriptures and which tallied with the high spiritual moods. First is she was about 45 when she came to Dakshineshwar. She was probably from what is now called the Bangladesh, East Bengal. And about her early life, we don't know anything, but she was a nun. She used to wear the saffron robes, the orange robe. Okay. And Bhairavi means you can see the one who is with Shiva, Bhairava. So they used to go around with a trident. You can still see some of these Bhairavis and Brahmanis, these. So she used to go around with a trident, real metal trident, and she used to go around with a bundle of books and the water pot, of course. So she had been told by the Divine Mother, you will be initiating 3, you can say, souls, the 3 disciples. 2 she had already met and initiated. She was searching for the 3rd one. So, and she was not only a kind of a scholar, she had the realizations in those disciplines, Tantra disciplines. Not only in the Tantras, that the scriptures devoted to the Divine Mother, but also the Vaishnava, the Vishnu Tantras. So she was an expert. Where she got all that knowledge, I mean, it's unbelievable. Swami Vivekananda also said, she was amazing. And she came and she debated these great scholars. Like this Gauri Pandit, he could, on his hand, on his extended arm, he would heap firewood at about 80 pounds and pour oblation, light it and pour oblations without being scorched, and this worship used to go for hours. So he himself had great occult powers. So these pandits were not just pandits, bookworms. they had these great spiritual powers. Occult, the word occult is kind of, it's misleading. It's spiritual powers. So she used to debate and these great scholars, and she established this. She not only she debated that, earlier she took Sri Ramakrishna, initiated him into these tantras and took him through these 64 difficult steps of the tantras. And she used to gather all that kind of esoteric stuff and bring it to Sri Ramakrishna. So to be an expert in one itself, it might take one lifetime. She knew the 64 steps and she taught it to Sri Ramakrishna. So she was here. There's one incident like saying, so Mathur Babu, like, he's saying, so he saw her coming out of the temple and he's saying, hey Bhairavi, where is your Bhairava? They always move in pairs. The Bhairavi is the feminine and the Bhairava is the masculine. So he said, where are they? So she points out a statue of Shiva on the roof of the temple with that is the Bhairava. So Mathur Babu was quick-witted, he's saying, but that is immovable. Then she says, what kind of a Bhairavi am I who can't make the immovable move? And Mathur Babu was saying, okay. But she was, as they say, a very exceptionally gifted woman who had practiced all these tantras and all these things.
I'm glad you brought her up. Is she the one who lived there for quite a while, but then eventually her ego got a little out of whack? I've never understood what happened.
Yeah, the divine Mahamaya is like that. She, as his Sri Ramakrishna progressed in spiritual life, she tried to insist that he do not study Vedanta. Don't mix around with that monk, that other monk, Totapur, who had come. So you see, very possessive. And saying, my son, don't mix around with him. That Vedanta is very dry. You will also become dry. She took an approach of devotion also towards the reality. So, and then she accompanied Sri Ramakrishna to his village home. And she was also trying to boost her own ego, thinking like, oh yeah, this is my... And she got in, you can say, trouble because of that. And Sri Ramakrishna says, go, leave now. So she did leave and she went to Benares. And she was seen in Benares. She had then attained that perfection. There was a slight imperfection of possessiveness that was still lingering. That she kind of cut it off. Yeah, everybody has faults, but these are they immediately catch it in the sense that they understand it. Because after this great attainments of spirituality, I mean, there's just a little thin veil that separates you from that absolute reality. So thank you for this Bhairavi Brahmani. Yeah, this kind of Brahmani is she was from the class of Brahmins. And these people are trained since a young age, 8, 9, and they start practicing meditation and puja and japa and all these things. So she had started young, most probably.
I think the other two disciples of Bhairavi Brahmani came to Sri Ramakrishna later.
Yeah. They did come. The other two disciples, they also had great spiritual powers. One could make himself invisible. He had perfected that Ghatika Vidya. He could make himself invisible. He got into trouble after because of that. Another he could radiate light from the back, from the spine. So, like Sri Ramakrishna, like he absorbed that powers of that Pandit. So similarly, he also absorbed all the other esoteric occult powers from those. And this is a strange thing, like, you know, he not only absorbs your powers that will obstruct your further progress, he also absorbs your virtues as well as your vices. Oh yes, because a golden chain is as strong as an iron chain. He'll keep on absorbing. This is one of the greatest, you can say, secrets of Ramakrishna. He will keep on absorbing everything. And finally, he'll absorb your ego also. Now get going, he said. That is. So, Swami, thank you very much.
I should thank you, Maharaj. Beautiful conclusion.
But yeah, as Swami is falling into stride, you know, with this American way of life and in English and how to convey things. But, you know, he was so devoted to the Holy Mother. And that is his, you can say, advantage. I used to see him when we were kind of doing this, performing the Durga Puja in Belur Math or even in Jairam Bhati when Holy Mother. I should look at him. Who knew we would be sitting like this one of these days? But it was good. So tomorrow, announcement. Tomorrow we'll have a Karma Yoga at a retreat center at Arlington. We also, on Sunday, we will be hearing Swami Shivarchanananda speak on Holy Mother, the Supreme Refuge. And for Monday, we are having a summer recess for 4 weeks. So thank you all. You can say Pranam Mantra.
Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrutavigraham Vai Ishavatarang Parameshamidyam Tang Ramakrishnang Shirasa Namama. Om Shanti Shanti.